March 14, 1943, 22,000 feet above Kursk, Soviet Union. Hauptmann Klaus Becker watched through his canopy as the fighter dove toward him from the sun. Textbook American tactics, pristine silver finish, aggressive closing speed. American ace, he transmitted to his wingman, preparing for the toughest fight of his career. The P-39 Airacobra's nose cannon opened fire, 37mm shells tearing past his Focke-Wulf. Becker barely escaped, his aircraft riddled with holes. Only when Soviet radio chatter flooded his headset did he understand his mistake. The pilot who had nearly killed him wasn't American. He was Russian Lieutenant Aleksandr Pokryshkin, flying a plane the United States had given away, one of 5,000. And the Germans were just beginning to understand what American industrial generosity actually meant. Becker was 27 years old, an experienced warrior. He'd been flying since 1940. France, England, now the Eastern Front. He'd shot down 18 enemy aircraft, Knight's Cross candidate. But this afternoon, in the skies over Kursk, he would learn the most shocking lesson of his career. When the aircraft came, he recognized it immediately. P-39 Airacobra, American-made, characteristic nose cannon, low profile, metallic silver finish. This was an aircraft that shouldn't be on the Eastern Front. Americans were fighting the Japanese in the Pacific, preparing against Germans in the West. Why was an American fighter in Russian skies? American volunteer pilot, Becker thought. Probably like Eagle Squadron, well-trained, dangerous. But he was wrong, very wrong. Seconds earlier, Pokryshkin's perspective. Starship Lieutenant Aleksandr Pokryshkin sat in the heated cockpit of his P-39 Airacobra, watching his radar. Yes, radar. The fact that the American-made aircraft had a radar system was still incredible by Soviet standards. He detected two Focke-Wulf 190s, 3,000 meters below, flying south. Not looking for German bombers, flying comfortably. Perfect prey. Valera, he called to his wingman, Lieutenant Valery Fadeyev, over the radio. Two enemy, 2 o'clock below. I'm diving from the sun. You set the trap. Understood, Sasha. Pokryshkin turned his aircraft. The P-39's response was instant, controls light, sensitive. Compared to Soviet Yak-1 aircraft, this plane was like a luxury car. He dove, reached 500 kilometers per hour speed. The Focke-Wulfs didn't see him. The sun was right behind him. Perfect. At 600 meters range, he fired the 37mm nose cannon. First burst missed the lead German aircraft, but hit the second. Explosion at wing route. The German aircraft began to roll. The lead German, Becker, made a sharp turn. Good pilot. But Pokryshkin was better, and his aircraft was much better. End of combat. Becker's shock. Becker tried to stay alive for 4 minutes. The Focke-Wulf 190 was an excellent aircraft. Fast, agile, powerful. But his opponent was faster, more aggressive, and the pilot had terrible skill. He escaped twice. Twice the attack came from behind. He tried to climb 3 times. 3 times the Airacobra followed him. Finally, using his own nose cannon, he drove the opponent away, but his aircraft was damaged. Engine shaking, fuel leak. Returning, he heard Soviet radio traffic. Russian pilots. Russian radio calls. What? He checked his headset. Russian? Landing, the mechanic took the report. 7 bullet holes. 1 hit to engine block. Damage on wing edge. American pilot? Asked the mechanic. I don't know, Becker replied. But the aircraft was American P-39, I know that for certain. That night, the intelligence officer came, showed photographs. P-39 Airacobra, American-made, but Soviets are using them. Lend-Lease program, Americans are giving them away for free. For free? Becker couldn't believe it. How many? We don't know, maybe 100, maybe thousands. The truth was worse. Over 5,000. Lend-Lease, the mathematics of American generosity. In March 1941, the United States was not yet at war, But President Franklin D. Roosevelt understood the danger of Nazi Germany. The Lend-Lease Act passed Congress. The principle was simple. America would send weapons, equipment, materials to its allies. Free, no repayment, just return it after the war condition. The Soviet Union was the largest recipient. Between 1941 to 1945, America sent to Soviets 14,795 aircraft, 7,056 tanks, 51,503 jeeps, 375,883 trucks, 15 million pairs of boots, 4 million tons of food. Total value, $11.3 billion. 1945 value equals $180 billion today. The P-39 Airacobra was the star of this program. Bell Aircraft Corporation produced them in Buffalo, New York. Total 9,584 P-39s were built. Of these, 4,719, nearly half, went to the Soviets. American pilots didn't like the P-39. High-altitude performance was weak. Engine was in the back, disturbing balance. Cabin was hot. In the Pacific, these were problems. But on the Eastern Front, in low-altitude combat, Soviet pilots fell in love with the P-39. Pokryshkin's discovery. Aleksandr Pokryshkin received his first P-39 in April 1942. Kirovabad Air Base, Azerbaijan. He walked around the aircraft 3 times. He couldn't believe it. This wasn't a combat aircraft. This was a luxury sedan with wings. First shock, cockpit heating. Not in Soviet aircraft. Pilots flew at minus 30 degrees Celsius, wore 4 layers of clothing, still lost their fingers. In the American aircraft, there was a thermostat. Temperature was adjustable. Second shock, radio. Soviet radios worked half the time. Interference, static, interruption. American radio, crystal clarity. From 50 kilometers away, whispered conversations could be heard. Third shock, instrumentation. Soviet instrument panels were simple, dark, fogged up. American panel, electric lighting. Every gauge, phosphorescent needles. Night flight was as easy as day. Fourth shock, weapon. 37mm nose cannon. Soviet aircraft didn't even have 20mm guns. This cannon could pierce tank armor. Hit a Messerschmitt, the aircraft would split in 2. Pokryshkin sat in the cockpit, remained silent for 30 minutes, then wrote in his diary what he couldn't say aloud: "We are fighting with stones. They are fighting with factories. And they're giving their factories to us." First combat. Pokryshkin's victory, April 13, 1942. Pokryshkin went on his first combat mission with the P-39. Caucasus Front, stopped German bombers. Detected 2 Junkers U-88s, 2 Messerschmitt Bf-109s escorts. With old Soviet aircraft, this mission was suicide, alone against 4 enemies. But with the P-39, he played poker and won. Bypassed the Messerschmitts. The P-39's low-altitude speed was superior to theirs. Attacked the Junkers directly. 37mm cannon, first burst broke the wing. Second Junkers tried to escape. Pokryshkin fired from 500 meters. Direct engine hit. Aircraft fell in flames. Messerschmitts returned. But Pokryshkin had already entered the clouds. The P-39's climb rate surprised them. When he landed, ground crew applauded. 2 enemies, 0 damage. Extraordinary. But for Pokryshkin, the real miracle was the aircraft. "With this plane," he told his commander, "we can beat the Germans." German intelligence discovery, May 1943. Luftwaffe Intelligence Headquarters, Berlin. Oberst Heinrich Müller was examining gun camera footage. For the 4th time. His coffee had gone cold. Aircraft destroying German fighters over the Eastern Front had American markings, American design, American performance characteristics. But radio intercepts were in Russian. His analyst's report was devastating. United States has delivered 2,847 P-39 fighters to Soviet Union via Lend-Lease. Estimate 5,000 plus by year-end. They are giving away more aircraft than we can produce. Miller did the mathematics. Germany built 15,000 fighters in 1942. America built 48,000 and was donating thousands to allies while still maintaining numerical superiority. He closed the folder and wrote one word across the cover: Unbesiegbar. Unbeatable. That night, he presented the report to Reichsmarschall Hermann Göring. Göring was furious. Nonsense, Americans can't build that many aircraft. They are, Herr Reichsmarschall. Their factories work 24 hours. Weekly production exceeds our monthly production. But quality? Miller showed photographs. German aircraft shot down by P-39s. Quality is excellent. Soviet pilots love these aircraft. Their best aces fly only P-39s. Göring remained silent, then exploded. Why didn't anyone tell me this? We did, Herr Reichsmarschall, but the numbers were not believable. Logistics miracle. Buffalo to Kursk, the P-39. Airacobra's journey was as extraordinary as the aircraft itself. Monday, Buffalo, New York, Bell Aircraft Factory. A P-39 came off the assembly line, 63 hours, from zero to completed aircraft. Engines made in Detroit by General Motors, propellers in Ohio by Hamilton Standard, instruments in Connecticut, weapons in Massachusetts. Every part came from different factories, united in Buffalo. Tuesday, Wednesday, truck to Great Falls, Montana. 2,000 miles. Special trucks, highway convoys. In 2 days, crossed the continent. Thursday, Friday, American ferry pilots flew the aircraft to Alaska. Fairbanks stop. Icy runways, minus 40 degrees Celsius weather, but aircraft worked flawlessly. Saturday, Alaska to Siberia. Nome to Anadyr, across Bering Strait. Soviet pilots took delivery from American pilots. Sunday, Krasnoyarsk, Siberia westward dispatch. Train, truck, own flight. Destination, front, 1 week. Factory floor to front line, 6,000 miles. And this wasn't special delivery. This was standard procedure. 5,000 aircraft made this journey, each equipped, fueled, armed, ready to fight. When German intelligence calculated the logistics, they assumed it was impossible. When they confirmed it was real, they realized they weren't fighting the Soviet Union. They were fighting American production capacity, and that capacity had no limits. Pokryshkin, legend with P-39. Between 1943 to 1945, Aleksandr Pokryshkin was the Soviet Union's second most successful ace. He shot down 59 confirmed enemy aircraft, all with P-39. Every battle proved the aircraft's superiority. Battle of Kursk, 13 enemies, single mission. Dnieper River operations, 6 Stuka bombers in 4 minutes. Berlin approach, last 5 victories in the war's final week. But Pokryshkin wasn't just numbers. He developed tactics. Altitude, speed, maneuver, fire principle maximized P-39 strengths. Soviet Air Force made his tactics standard training. After the war, he received Hero of the Soviet Union title 3 times, Gold Star Medal, Order of Lenin, Order of the Red Banner. But in interviews, he always said the same thing. Without the P-39, I couldn't have achieved these successes. The Americans didn't just give us aircraft, they gave us victory. Other Soviet aces, P-39, Love Pokryshkin wasn't alone. Most of the best Soviet pilots flew P-39s. Grigory Rechkalov, 56 victories, all with P-39. This aircraft is the nightmare of German pilots, he said. When they see it, they try to run. Nikolai Gulayev, 57 victories, with P-39. American engineers are geniuses. They didn't make this aircraft for Soviet needs, but it fit perfectly. Alexander Klubov, 50 victories. My P-39 never let me down. 200 missions, single engine failure. With Soviet aircraft, there'd be a failure every 20 missions. Soviet pilots loved the P-39 so much they gave it a nickname, Kobrushka, Little Cobra. It was an expression of affection. German pilot trauma. For German pilots, the P-39 became a psychological weapon because they were fighting an enemy they didn't recognize. Oberleutnant Gustav Specht wrote in his diary in June 1943, "When I see a P-39, I'm afraid. If I see a Soviet Yak or Lend-Lease, I'm confident. But Cobra, who's the pilot? How good is he? Is his aircraft to American standards? If so, I have no chance." Lieutenant Werner Schroer. P-39 numbers are increasing. Last month I saw 3, this month 30. Where does it end? Are Americans making infinite aircraft? Answer, yes. Comparison. American versus German production. 1943. Aircraft production. USA. 85,898 aircraft, all types. Germany. 24,807 aircraft ratio, 3.5 to 1. 1944 aircraft production. USA. 96,318 aircraft. Germany. 39,807 aircraft ratio, 2.4 to 1. Germany recovered but still behind. Total war production. 1939 to 1945. USA 324,750 aircraft. Germany 119,307 aircraft. The difference, America produced 2.7 times more. But the real shock, America gave away thousands of aircraft and still had more than Germany. Winter 1943 to 44. Dual reality Luftwaffe base. Poltava. Lieutenant Hans Weber climbed into his Bf-109G, wearing 3 sweaters, 2 pairs of gloves, and a leather flight suit lined with newspaper for insulation. Cockpit temperature was minus 15 degrees Celsius. His radio worked intermittently. His guns jammed if fired above 7,000 meters. 200 kilometers away, Soviet base Lieutenant Grigory Rechkalov is settled into his P-39 Airacobra's heated cockpit, adjusted the American-made radio to perfect clarity, and checked his 37mm nose cannon, which had never jammed once in 127 combat missions. The temperature inside was a comfortable 18 degrees Celsius. When these 2 pilots met in combat over Kursk 3 weeks later, Weber survived only because Rechkalov's ammunition ran out. In his after-action report, Weber wrote, "Enemy pilot in American aircraft showed superior equipment, superior training, superior confidence. We are not losing to Soviets. We are losing to Detroit." Spring 1945. Final operations, May 1945. Berlin had fallen. The war was ending. Pokryshkin completed his 300th combat flight in his final mission. The P-39 still worked perfectly. 3 years, hundreds of flight hours, dozens of battles. American engineering had endured. After the war, he donated his P-39 to a museum. He wrote on the plaque, "This aircraft was America's gift." Not just metal and engine, it was hope. While they fought for us, they gave us the chance to win. We will never forget this. Epilogue. The true cost of Lend-Lease. At war's end, the numbers were incredible. Total Lend-Lease to Soviets, 1941 to 1945. 14,795 aircraft, 7,056 tanks, 51,503 jeeps, 375,883 trucks, 8,218 anti-aircraft guns, 15 million pairs of boots, 4 million tons of food, 2.6 million tons of petroleum products. Total value, $11.3 billion. 1945 equals $180 billion. 2024 P-39 specific, 4,719 P-39s delivered to Soviets. 70% of Soviet aces flew P-39s. 7 of top 10 Soviet pilots used P-39s. Total 20,000 plus enemy aircraft shot down by Soviet P-39s, German intelligence reported after the war. Lend-Lease constituted 15% of Soviet war effort, but in critical categories, aircraft, trucks, communications, reached 40%. Without American aid, Soviets might have collapsed in 1943, 1985. Moscow, Pokryshkin's memoirs. Aleksandr Pokryshkin was 72 years old, still active, high rank in Soviet Air Force. An American historian visited him. "What won the war?" asked the historian. Pokryshkin looked out the window. Long silence. Then he spoke. The American P-39. Not Soviet courage. Not Soviet tactics. American production capacity. They didn't just give us aircraft. They showed us how modern war is fought. German pilots were brave. Their aircraft were excellent. But they couldn't fight forever because their aircraft ran out. Their pilots died. Their factories were bombed. Us, every lost aircraft was replaced within a week. New P-39s came from Alaska. Every week, every month, never stopped. Germans thought they were fighting Soviets, but actually they fought America. And defeating America was mathematically impossible. Victory given as a gift. The P-39 Airacobra story is one of World War II's least known but most important stories. Because this wasn't just about an aircraft, it was about American industrial philosophy. Germany conserved resources. Every tank, every aircraft was valuable. Losses were tragic. America overproduced, gave to allies. 5,000 P-39s, gift, just in exchange for win the war. And this strategy worked. Soviets held the Eastern Front, pushed Germans back, reached Berlin with American equipment. Klaus Becker in the skies over Kursk that March day didn't just fight a Soviet pilot. He fought American generosity, Detroit factories, unlimited production capacity, and he lost. Because wars aren't won with courage, they're won with factories. And America was the world's largest factory,